Here we are. What's going on, Nova? How is it? How's everything?
Everything is good. Everything is great.
All
How are
right,
you,
that's
Max?
what's up. Hey, you know me. I'm here, just drinking my water, minding my business, all of that stuff. So that's more or less my situation at the moment. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
hmm
That's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I just be guzzling the water, because sometimes you just gotta let shit go.
Well. Who is Chin Chin? Thank you. Hey, she's on the YouTube, and she said I'm glowing. Thank you. I've been minding my business, drinking my water, taking care of my skin, healing.
Yes,
It
she's
feels.
taking care of her skin. I always got the glow like Bruce Leroy out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I didn't know that was hi, Leah. I didn't know that was
That's Leah, yes.
that.
So that's Leah, yes. Oh goddamn. So sorry about that. My computer likes to. I keep my volume on when I'm doing my IT schoolwork
Mhm.
because it plays the audio, so I don't have to read through everything. It reads it to me. It has a reader, so I can actually listen to it sometimes instead of having to read through everything. I'm still reading along with it though, truthfully, but I still like having the audio too because I feel like audio kind of helps with memory. When you hear something audio as well as visually.
Hey,
So,
Rosie. Yes, I love that. I wish I had that for all these freaking papers I just graded in the past 10 days. I would love
hey,
some.
what's up, Rosie? Listen, you don't even understand how important that shit is. Let me
I
tell you something. Between that and let me tell you something. An IT person's best friend is AI. You
mm,
wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. But it actually is.
I believe that.
Because with AI, what ends up happening is we end up with the AI, what ends up happening is it helps us to simplify certain tasks. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's why I like personal, you
Yeah.
know.
I understand that because I'm revamping my website right now and doing a whole business relaunch. And
Did you just scream?
yes, I feel like my locks are more gray after this relaunch. Golly. But
Listen.
AI has been helpful when I feel like I'm like stuck and I'm like I have no more words to put on this page, and it's been helpful
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So, hey Joy,
Nah, I
hi
feel that.
CJ,
What's up, Joy? What's
the
going on? Hey,
ladies in
CJ.
the building.
CJ's there too, waving.
Hi CJ, I love it. I'm so excited. This is the perfect population for what we're talking about today. But first, I got to ask you how your weekend was, because this weekend was Mother's Day weekend. So I'm gonna ask you first, and then you can ask me.
So my mama had other things to do other than be bothered with her child. You know what I'm saying? She had other things to do, so I just sent her a little bit of cash. I feel like that that made up for everything. You know what I'm saying? You said mama some greenbacks. She ain't got nothing else to say to you. She like she, you's a good kid.
He's a good son.
You
He's
know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much how that went. Shit, I wish my Cash App went off on Father's Day. Normally it goes off in the opposite direction.
on
You
Father's
know, listen, let me tell you something. I'll tell you a little story real quick. So I was dating this girl, which funny enough, my son never really cared for her, which was ironic.
because kids be knowing.
Yeah, but normally, I don't pay no mind to the kids. I try to make my own determinations and such. So what ended up happening is me, I'm it's Father's Day one year. At this time, me and this girl was living under the same roof, whatever. So, Father's Day for me, I just want to chill. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times people think, oh yeah, want to listen. I hate being out on Father's Day because I don't want to deal with nobody's crowd. I don't
Yeah,
want to deal with nobody's traffic. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And the whole thing is that all you end up doing is sitting in traffic and having a headache. So what is this girl's bright idea? Oh, well, we needed an AC anyway because we didn't need a new AC unit for the house. But
Not on
we
Father's Day.
had, but of course, that's the day where she's like harassing me until I finally gave in and was like, fuck it. And I will tell you, I was irritated, annoyed, and mad all at the same time for the fact that I was even out on that day dealing with that bullshit because I really I wasn't happy about that at all. Just to keep it 100. Which
I thought you were gonna say that she wanted to take you out to dinner on Father's Day, and that's why you were outside. Man, listen. That story alone makes me
you
happy.
see, I'm not with her, right?
Thank goodness.
You know what I'm saying? So there you go.
Mm-mm. No, I'm a daddy's girl, so Father's Day is always special. Last year, I took my dad to see The Wiz on Broadway. He was so happy. It was great.
Listen, that's my whole thing too. Is that when Father's Day comes, I don't want to do shit, bro. And since we're talking about all of this, how did your weekend go before we jump and fall into this topic?
Right into the trap, right? Because we just get started. My weekend, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So I was out of town last week, and that was great. It was much needed R&R. And then Friday, I thought I was gonna come home. I didn't. I ended up in like Middletown with some of my girls hanging out. And then Saturday and Sunday, I graded papers because I'm a professor at the end of the semester. But Sunday was Mother's Day. And us talking about Mother's Day is how we got our topic today. Because CJ, my mom ran away too. And Mother's Day and Father's Day are complicated holidays for so many people. And my mom and our relationship has been it's been a journey. It's been a journey. Life is a highway. And I'm learning to respect her love language and try to not allow it to offend me. So her language is gift giving. Mine is quality time. And so she just wanted, I was like, Mom, what do you want to do for Mother's Day? And you guys know me, I'm booked and busy. Like I'm always on the road. I'm always on the go. I'm always something. But I keep like Mother's Day, Father's, I keep those weekends open because I want to give my parents an opportunity if they want to spend time with me. I don't want to be like, oh, I got something else going on. And she was like, oh, I don't really want to do anything. And then she was like, just get me something, right? Because she knows that I have great style. Flips my hair. And
Indeed.
I got her this like really beautiful sundress, and I go to drop it off to her, and she's like out and about, and I get to where she told me she was, check her location, not there anymore. And I was like, lady, and then she's like, oh, I think I'm gonna go out of town with like one of my cousins. And I was like, what? And it ended up being like a intense Mother's Day, boy. But it was that's part of what prompted today's conversation, because we come from parents, right? No matter what, if we're adopted, grew up in foster care, whatever, we come from parents, and those parent experiences impact all of our relationships for the rest of our lives. And a lot of people don't like it. And I'm just gonna go psych real quick and say Freud is right. because Freud was a psychologist. We call him godfather of psychology. And what he said was everything is about our parents. He was a little quirky because he said, girls want to be in relationships with their dad sexually, boys want to be sexually connected to their mothers. But ultimately, it goes back to our relationships mimic our family relationships. And we see that in the lifestyle. Our friendships, the way that we interact with each other in the lifestyle, all of that stuff. So we're going to talk about that today because what I realized after my experience that we talked about last week is that I need to stay as true to myself as possible in the lifestyle, even though I try to keep it separate. And to be authentic with myself means one of the slogans from my business is healing is my lifestyle. And so I want the lifestyle to be more healed. I want us to be able to have these kinds of conversations and talk about it so that we're not bringing our toxic patterns, unhealthy mindsets, relationship, all that stuff into lifestyle. So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? And I see Tanya's comment, like, didn't know my sperm donor. And that is so hard, right? And
it's unfortunate when you see those things.
And I see that she had 2 female parents, which is amazing. However, and there's still a genetic component in us. It's called epigenetics that affects how we interact with other people.
I'm sorry, I just had to smile for a minute because a lot of people don't really know. Say that definition again, one more time. Yes. So explain exactly what that is, because even though I know what that is, a lot of people don't know what that is.
So epigenetics is we have a DNA sequence, and still to this day, scientists don't know all of our genes, but we have a DNA sequence and it determines things like our eye color, our hair color, our personality, and all that stuff. But it also determines personality, temperament, if we're shy, if we're outgoing, mental health conditions, stuff like that. And epigenetics says, okay, you have this set of DNA, but depending on your experiences, that's how your DNA acts. And that's why you can have 2 kids, same household, same parents, same growing up environment, and they experience life completely different because their social life experiences changes the way that their genes play out.
See, this is why Nova is sitting here as the resident expert. She's read a book or 2 in her day. You know what I'm saying? So, and see, it is something that I've seen too. I've seen a lot of times, like, I'll see some dudes that like really are bad with the way that they treat female. And then I'll see their relationships with their moms. Like, there's one guy I know in particular, which I can't even specify, because if I even specify a little bit, it's going to become familiar to those that know. So all I'm going to say is his relationship with moms is not great. And truthfully, his perspective towards females is terrible. So I definitely see where that correlation tends to fall. Because a lot of times, that's the thing that's missing in a lot of people's relationships is they, like with me, look how I am when it comes to female. And look at me and my mom's relationship. Like, we was talking about the Knicks earlier. You know what I'm saying? My mom, I'm a Nets fan, but my mom, she's into the Knicks. So I've been a Nets fan since they was in New Jersey. So it's not even a Brooklyn thing, even though I'm a Brooklyn fan.
We forgive you.
So listen, at least I'm honest. I don't just jump on the bandwagon. But I told her, I said, I still look for my team. I look for New York teams to win regardless of whatever. So anyway, the thing is that me and my mom have very real relationships. Like, my mom is the first elder in my family that came to me and said, you do not belong in a monogamous relationship. And she came out and said that shit to me straight up. It was my mom's that said that shit. You understand what I'm saying? So when your mother is telling you that, that wakes you up to things, but that's because we have a certain type of relationship. I didn't even have to tell her. She just came with that energy on her own and said, one day she just talked to me and just came out and said that because of the way that we get along. You know,
Yes.
now it's even though I break the mold when it comes to relationship with Pops, because with him, I don't talk to him. I ain't talked to him since I was young. You understand what I'm saying? But
But
it
I can
hasn't
see
really
that.
affected me.
I
But
can see your protection of women though. The way that you feel about women, and then I can understand like why you're such a teddy bear with women and why you can turn
all
that
this teddy bear
aggressively
stuff.
much more when it comes to men. Like when you start feeling some kind of way about men, you go hard. And I can see that 100%.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I legit try my best to do right by the ladies. I try to move as best as I can. I'm not perfect. Lord knows I've had my own stumbles and bumbles, and I had my little savage days and all of that. But, it was also my aunt too, because I basically grew up with two women to raise me. And
Okay, who
my
inspired
uncle and my uncle was around, but he wasn't around like that. But he was the closest male role model I had. And he was a ladies' man, you know what I'm saying?
you?
But one thing that I can say is my aunt instilled this in me. She said, how you gonna be is how you're gonna be. If you want to move around out here, it's perfectly okay for you to do so. Just make sure that these girls out here understand what time it is so that you're not leading them into something that they aren't ready for.
Right.
Basically, be transparent, So that was my parental experience, you know. So that did have a lot to do in a matter of shaping me. And how about you, Nova?
So, I explained my relationship with my mom, but I've always been a daddy's girl, and I'm a daddy's girl twice because when I talk about my dad, he's technically my stepdad, but he's raised me since I was 5. And
Mm-hmm.
he will say in a hot second, like, step is not in my vocabulary. I don't believe in stepchildren. Like, you're my daughter. And so I love him. And my bio dad was an amazing man. Like, he passed away when I was 13, but his
Uh-huh.
imprint and his impact in my life, like, my father had 11 children. I'm the
Oof.
youngest. Papa was a Rolling Stone. And I will say he was not a great partner. He was not a great partner.
Mm.
But he was a phenomenal dad. And so my brothers, I'm the youngest of my 11 siblings. And so my older brothers will tell me stories about how, like, when he was dating their mom, he always came with food and gifts for them and all their siblings and not just his kids. Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
my father was like I met this woman once and she was like, I know your father. She said, when I was, me and my son were struggling. She said, and your dad was never inappropriate with me. And he would go fishing and he would bring us some fish that he cleaned. And he would say, here, feed you and that baby. Right. So, like, my dads, both of them are phenomenal dads. Partners, I don't have any responsibility for that. But dads, they were amazing. And the men in my life are awesome dads, all of my brothers and things. So that's where I get the respect that I have for Black men and their presence. And that's how I learned how to value Black men. My dad has taught me, men overall, but Black men specifically, because that's where I come from. And my dad has
Uh-huh.
said things like, hey, Lance, he said,
Let me
don't ever send your Black man out there angry. Don't send him out there feeling inadequate because the world is hard enough on him. So when he leaves your house, you make sure that he feels good. And he's held it down for me too. Like, I was telling a story today to a client how I was in a relationship with someone years ago and he cheated on me. But there was a time where he said, I can't be the man that you want me to be. And I was like, yes, you
mm-hmm.
can. Da, 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 da. I'm going to wait. And, of course, I was younger and not as wise as I am today. But when I told my dad what happened, because my dad was like, hey, I haven't seen so-and-so around. I was like, he
Mm-hmm.
cheated on me. And he said, he did tell you that he couldn't be the man that you wanted him to be. So anything that happened after that was on you. And
Right.
oof. So like, because I had such a dope relationship with both my dads, I feel like I feel like I can do anything.
And that's beautiful. And this is my thing. First of all, the South Jersey Seduction Group is listening in. I think they're sitting around each other because they're having a little meet and greet, so they're checking it out.
Oh, I was
So
like,
I just
what's
want to,
that
I want to shout them, out. You know, they're a great group of people. Ran into quite a few of them last weekend. You know, so that was a nice situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Really great group of folks. Really nice. Like I said, I got to embrace. Just a sidebar for a second.
Yeah.
I got to embrace the old school LS feeling last weekend. It really felt good. I know you newbie, so you have never seen what that looks like.
No,
But offline, I'm gonna tell you about the spot because I ain't even talking about this shit online like that. You know, and you gotta fill out a thing to get with them. You gotta be on SLS, blah blah blah. There's a whole list of things you gotta do. You know, and you have to check into the spot. You can't just pull up and say, "Oh, I want to come." No, you have to be on the list. You understand what I'm saying? And they don't turn down singles either. You know what I'm saying? Like they are cool with the singles as well as the couples. Oh, that's a nice experience.
Good. About that.
Okay, but getting back to this whole parental thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, another thing I say too, because I'm gonna go deeper than just parents, actually. Your relationships you have as you grow up tend to show me things. Like there are a lot of times where there are women who I dated, and I could say this because I've dated a lot of females. I've counseled even more people. Have I counseled more people than I've dated at this point? Yeah, I probably have. Because I don't think I've dated 1,000 people, 1,000 plus people. I don't think I might. Anyway, so my whole thing is that I notice a lot of times, like if I see a shorty doesn't have a lot of female friends, that can be a big, like not even a lot, but if she don't have no female friends, but she still got mad dudes around her, you know, that tells me a lot about her upbringing too. It doesn't mean she's a bad person. It doesn't mean that she couldn't be a quality person. To me, the only reason I look at it as a red flag typically is because I like girls that have shit to do.
Say that.
Like, you can do something whether I'm around or not. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
There's nothing wrong if, yes, you might have a focus on me. That's fine. I'm a Leo. We love being worshipped. You know what I'm saying? That feeds my arrogance, you know? But at the same time, I want to know that you can branch off and you got some friends somewhere that you can holler at. Y'all do whatever y'all do and y'all feel like it. And it's all cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love seeing that shit because I tell women all the time, I don't want you to feel like you're isolated with me.
Right.
I don't want you to feel like, you know, you have no world if it isn't me being involved in it. Like, that's, you know, and the thing is, I will say this. A lot of children who were neglected when they were young tend to grow up with abandonment issues too, which is why some people, as they grow, and this goes for men and women, it's not either one. Those why you see some are really clinging. Like the moment that you see them really like the moment you give them a little bit of attention, this could be in friendship as well as relationship. Because sometimes as a friend, somebody could be too much on your body. Like you just be like, damn, I like my space. Like you ain't got to call me like fucking 5 times in the day. You know what I'm saying? My partner ain't calling me that much and you calling me that much. There's something up.
Listen,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my
it's different.
Is I'm 37. I'm grateful. I'm 37. My longest friendship is from when I was 7, but she's
Mm-hmm.
my god sister, so I don't really count that. But my best friend since I was 9 years old, and we are locked in, and we probably talk 4 times a month, maybe. And if the semester's going, because she's always she and I are a lot alike. Like I got 6 degrees, she got 6 degrees, so like we're
Where
always
do y'all
busy.
find all this goddamn time to do all this schooling? I did a double major in college, and that shit. Well, I kind of did that shit pretty easily because I only had class on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, you got a little.
But even still,
I think that friendships being high maintenance is tough, especially if you are locked in and you're working on whatever you got to do and things like that. I think that it's really hard and it's not healthy. I think you gotta have.
ooh, Lems has a question that we should answer. I'm gonna answer it from my perspective, and then I want you to answer it from your perspective.
Put
Okay?
it on the screen so the people on YouTube can see.
Oh, I'm going to, if it'll let me. Oh shit! See this damn thing? Yeah, this thing's been acting really bootleg lately. I don't know what the fuck is wrong.
It's okay, we can read it. She said, but what
Hold
does
on.
that have to do with a woman being around a lot of guys rather than women? I used to hang with more dudes than females at one time, but that was only because I couldn't stand the cattiness of females. And that's valid. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and answer that, Max, and then I'll give my perspective.
Okay, well, here's my perspective on it. Is me personally as a man, I don't want to be like I'm as secure as you can get. That's why I'm able to be a swinger, and it's perfectly fine because I'm very secure in my manhood. And that being said, even with my security and my manhood, I don't want to see a shorty that's always hanging around dudes. To me, I know how I am. And I know how the majority of men are because I've been a man my entire life. I've had a dick my entire life, and I know how that works. We could be friends as much as possible. But if you give them the chance, if you haven't already given them the cheeks before, which a lot of times out of the male friends that they have, at least one or two of them have gotten the cheeks before. They're going to be trying. They will always be kind of plotting and scheming on them cheeks. They could see you sexy just like I could see you sexy. And granted, I have female friends that are very sexy that I don't touch, but that's because I know other things about them that make me be like, I'm not fucking with you. Da 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 da. For obvious reasons. That's why Nova don't get none from me. You know what I'm saying? But my whole thing is that um, all of that aside, there's a male and females being friends is a possible thing. It's definitely possible. It's doable. But the fact of the matter is, I still feel like you should have more male friends. I mean, more female friends as a female than male friends. Like, and even if you don't need to, like, if you always around dudes, to me, that just looks tacky. Like, how is that my chick? But she stay hanging out with the dudes. Like, nah, we ain't doing that. Like most men, and I'm just saying that the majority of men ain't having that shit.
That's true.
Like, you'll end up with friends that you can only have when you're single. Or you'll end up trying to run ultimatums where you're like, well, these are my friends, and da 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 da. Da. And I'm looking at you like, you ain't gonna make me choose between me and them because I'll leave you right there with that nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you ain't about to be just kicking it with your dudes and all this stuff. And it's cool to have a male friend or two, but too many of them, it starts to look a little raggedy to me. That's just my personal opinion on it.
And of course, I wouldn't say it looks raggedy. I want to say probably 2 male friends that nothing has ever happened with. And, they're solid friends of mine, like in my brother's wedding, like solid in the family kind of thing. I don't think it looks tacky. I think that there's a camaraderie of womanhood, right? That only women can understand. And I agree, there are some catty sketchy women in the world. And,
Right.
There are also some shady dudes, right? So I think that if you have quality friendships, that's what's more important to me than male or female. If I'm in a relationship with someone, I feel like my boundaries with female friends is like, it can't be someone you slept with. That's a no for me, dog. That's not true. That's not true, because now I'm in the lifestyle, so I can't say that, right? I don't know. It can't be like someone that you hung out, like you hanging out with, and you guys slept together. You can tell there's still like a chemistry there. I don't want to have to question that. I feel like if we can't all hang out, then I don't feel like you should be hanging out by yourself with another female.
Well, see, like I said, this is my issue. Is that you like having a bunch of dudes hanging around a female? To me, just to me, and to most guys, our perspective is we don't like that shit. Oh, and for future reference, whenever somebody makes a comment, what I'm gonna do is, because the YouTube comments are working, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be sharing them like I'm doing now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I can.
Well, I guess I'll try, but I was never interested.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share it, then I'm gonna put it up here like that, so that people can see what the hell is being said, blah 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 blah. Because for some reason the Facebook connection with StreamYard is acting stupid. It's StreamYard, not us. Anyway, so at least it's still streaming. That's what matters the most. But here's the thing. This is me. And I'm just saying this, like I said, from a male perspective. From a male perspective, I don't like it. I say, you have a couple of male friends, that's cool. I have a problem with that. But there are some shorties who legit have like 6, 7, 8 dudes, and all these dudes as they friends and all this stuff. And it's just like, I'm not even hanging around 6, 7, 8 dudes like that. And you hanging around 6, 7, 8 dudes, but you supposed to be fucking with me? And granted, I do have more than 6 friends. But my whole thing is, I'm not just hanging around these motherfuckers all crazy like that. You understand what I'm saying? So
I feel you.
So but seeing a girl with one dude, to me, that shit is weird, man. It's like, I feel like, like hang out with some girls or something, And you know what's funny? You never hear dudes really saying, "Oh, I ain't really fucking with no niggas like that. I'm only hanging around shorties." You almost never hear that. And I will tell you,
that's because men are different, and men socialize different. And so,
yeah, we not catty.
I'm not catty.
A lot of women are catty though.
And that's why Lynn's is saying what she's saying.
And you know what? But I will say this too. Well, the thing is, y'all need to grow the fuck up. Stop being so goddamn catty. Y'all supposed to be the more mature ones. Y'all can't even coexist in a friendship. Make it make sense.
Hey Tammy, please help us.
How are you possibly the more mature of the two of us, but you can't even hold on to a friendship?
What is L. Cooper saying?
Let me see that.
On YouTube.
No, I gotta look at it. She said, all right, let's put her up. Let me see what she's saying on YouTube. Because I think there's 2 parts to what she said. All right, so yeah, she had something before that. So this was her question. She said, my question is if the connection... Oh, I could put that up, actually. Okay. She said, my question is if the connection and the trust is solid between you and your significant other, why should the trust ever be questioned? It's not a matter of trust. See, the thing is with me is I'm going to be honest, because I'm an imperfect creature and I'm still a work in progress. As people would say in the Christian faith, he ain't through with me yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm still being worked on.
Right.
So here's my thing, is that I don't care about the trust. It's never about the trust with me, because I wouldn't even make you a girlfriend of mine if I didn't trust you. The issue isn't the trust. It's the imagery. Because to me, I have an image, I have a reputation, I have my own standards that I carry on. So any woman that is somebody that lays claims to me or that I lay claims to, I feel like they have to move in a certain way. Maybe some of it is my dominant nature that I refuse to have any other quote unquote semi dominant or male energies around, but so much. Like I said, I tolerate a little bit, but not too much. And there's too many of them. Nah, that's not to me. And this is just the way I was brought up. This is the way I was raised. To me, a lady is not supposed to be surrounding herself with mad dudes like that.
I don't like that statement. I don't like that statement at all. I don't like that statement because I think that goes back to like victim blaming and girls being fresh and all of that. I understand all the other stuff.
Wait, where did victim blaming come into account with this?
Because growing up, it was like, oh, you shouldn't be hanging around with all them boys. And followed up with that is like you be fast and you're doing all this stuff.
Oh no, it's not even that. It's just it looks tacky. Like imagine me. I would look funny if I'm just palling. If I was palling around with like 6, 7 shorties on some like friend type shit. Most people are gonna assume that I am not straight. And I'm the not straight friend that is hanging with the girls because I'm just one of them. They're not going to assume that I'm smashing all 5 or 6 of them. Now, those that know me would probably assume the other first.
So that is the male privilege, right? Because
yes, it's a double standard.
Yeah, when that's turned around, it's not the female is gay because she's hanging out with all the guys and she's fast. Like Aaliyah says, she's fresh. She blah 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 blah. But I agree. Ooh, yes, I agree with Jenna saying I have a lot of male cousins, and so growing up, it was always like me and 2 of my male cousins, and that's different, right? Family is much different than friends. So I think that's a yes. Sorry, L. Cooper. We know you're a guy now. We know you're a man now.
Oh shit, my bad, Cooper. I didn't even know that was a dude. I couldn't see a picture. I just saw the L and automatically assumed that was somebody.
It's on the screen.
No, I'm not looking at the pictures though. I'm literally just looking at the words because you understand. I'm looking at like 3 different screens right now.
That's right.
So my eyes are spinning all over the place, and that's not. Thank God I don't have the other screens hooked up because then there'd really be a lot to look at. But
right, but yeah. So I think it's okay to have friends of the opposite sex. I just think the trust is the issue, and I agree. So now that I'm lifestyle in my vanilla life, I was like, nope. If you had sex with them, you shouldn't be friends with them. But now that I'm lifestyle, I have to really reconsider that. Like that's just a transparent moment because, shucks, I don't know how.
What happened?
Just thinking about that, like, okay.
Don't have flashbacks while we having the show.
I'm not having flashbacks. I'm thinking about the fact that since I'm in the lifestyle, my partner is in the lifestyle, then he likely will have female friends that he still is cool with, that he may have played with, right? And it's a much different situation. Yeah, it's a realization. Like it's a much different situation being in the lifestyle than a vanilla world. And so I think for me, this conversation is helpful because I haven't dated really in the lifestyle, and like Joy said, sharing is caring, and I enjoy watching my man. So yeah, I have to reevaluate that. I don't know. Ooh, Lord have mercy.
Oh, Tammy, what's up? I didn't even see that you said hi because I was blocking the screen with holding the comments up there. Those that don't know how this thing works, that's kind of, I don't know, StreamYard has some weird settings now. I don't know. You know, sometimes when you upgrade something, it just makes it worse.
Yes.
They like upgraded it and it just works a lot worse than it did before. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. And I pay for this shit. I don't got the free version, so that's annoying. But anyway, yeah, Tammy, I'm you know what I'm gonna say to you already, so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Tammy's one of those. She's been running for a long time. But anyway. All
But
right,
yeah, so
so
that's a lot to consider, like the relationship stuff. But where we started was how our childhood parent relationships influence our intimate relationships. And that's real stuff.
mhm.
That is so real. Oh, she said you're running. So let me say
Listen.
this, right? So I worked with someone once, and when they were in high school, they were like, I am a lesbian. That's it.
Mhm.
And I was like, sexuality is fluid. You don't have to put yourself in a box, whatever. And then as time progressed, they went to college and they
I
started
put
dating.
myself in a box.
You shouldn't. But
I'm putting myself in a box. I'm good. My dick has a one-way sign on it, and it's pointing at pussy and mouth only, and
I
only woman
respect
mouth.
your decision.
It points at women only. That is it. I ain't judging if you go both ways or you go the other way. That's your business. I'm not. You want to tell you something? I actually
What?
want to say something about that too. When it comes to sexuality, and this is another thing about growing up in a home, just to get back to the upbringing thing,
Uh-huh.
there's another thing that happens a lot of times. A lot of times, people aren't real with their sexuality and they develop sexual disorders or sexual dementia. Well, not dementia, but I'll say demented sexual acts
Deviant.
or taste, deviant sexual acts or taste because either sexuality was shamed in their household or they might be bisexual, gay, or pansexual or whatever, but they never could embrace that because of the household they grew in. They might grew up in a very religious household where you better be into the opposite sex or that's it. And literally they would get punished and abused for that. So now you got the abusive angle, which we know how abuse is transferable between between parents and children.
Yeah.
We know how that transfers and how that cycle continues on. That
Mhm.
also creates thing that also helps to create also a lot of insecurities, a lot of clinginess because when you do find somebody that kind of vibes with you, sometimes because you haven't been out in the world like that, you weren't allowed to have any experiences, you're naive, and you come out to the world and end up getting used and abused, which corrupts your perspective and jades you, and then you're another person with a whole list of issues. Nighttime sniffing, sneezing, coughing, whatever fucking you know what I mean by
No,
that.
that's so true. It's so true.
Like literally they end up with the list of shit because of things like that. There's so many different ways that shit could spin on you.
And so that's what I was saying about this person that I worked with before is that once they got to college and they were like, oh, all men aren't horrible because their father wasn't in the home and their mother had a whole bunch of negative things to say about their dad. And so it was more acceptable for her to be a lesbian than to bring a boy home. And then once she got to college and got away from that environment, she was like, oh, I like boys. And what do you know? The first couple of boys she dated were just like her dad. Just like her dad. And when she started sharing like different things she was going through, it was like,
Mm.
this and so that's another thing is we end up mimicking our parent relationships within our own relationship. And so that is one thing. And then the sexual deviance is a whole fact. Like people either get boxed in or they experiment with things because they're rebelling against their religion, faith, family traditions and all that other stuff. It all comes together and that plays out in the lifestyle. That it shows up in our lifestyle events, in our lifestyle
Fact.
relationships, in our
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, what we explore and things like that. Like it's a whole thing. And even like one of my fantasies, we all know, is to be gangbanged. Right? That is definitely a fantasy of mine.
I
However,
forgot about that actually.
what? How could you forget? But anyhow,
Because I was too busy thinking about my own, but
that's healthy. But it's because I like that. I want all the male attention, all the male
when
attention.
you say when you say gangbang, though, how many is you really talking about? Let's
I
get into
mean,
that.
hashtag sky's the limit. Okay, so like I said I would max out at 10. I would start with a cool 10.
I would say this: do it while you're single,
Right, right.
because ain't no man gonna sit back and let that happen. Y'all hear me, right? Just in case y'all get a bright idea, in case anybody, y'all girls know who y'all are. In case anybody gets a bright idea, my answer is hell no before you even ask it. Homie, don't play that. Fuck out of here.
But
Anyway.
but like it's not because I was neglected by a dad or anything like that. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it.
Mhm.
But and like I said, I'm a daddy's girl, true and true. But that's my fantasy, and it could be why, because I feel safest with men. Like I feel comfortable with men. I feel like I'm relaxed. I don't feel anxious or awkward or anything like that, like some other people might.
Let me see. All right, we got a couple comments here. I want to touch these real quick because they saying some important stuff here.
Tammy
All
said
right,
her
we
mom.
know. I'm gonna get to little Miss Tammy in a minute. We gonna get back to that. But here's the thing, right? Like L. Cooper said, he was like, I feel like a circle is a circle. I could put his up actually. Told
Mhm.
you. I'm sorry, Facebook people. I can't put the comments up until I highlight them and copy paste. Sometimes I might just read them because
Yeah.
it's a lot of extra effort for no reason. But anyway, you say I feel like a circle is a circle as long as there's no squares in a circle. Everything else is valid. You play your part, you know your place, and there should never be an issue. I think that's fair. That's a
That
good
is
way to
fair.
look at it. I'm not that evolved.
I like
I,
what he
and
said
I
about I like what he said about him and his wife and his friend, and he was like, his friend is an ex, and they all chill together, and it's trust. I can, and
mhm.
that's what made me say like, okay, now I'm lifestyle, and so that would be something I would have to consider. I can respect that as long as there's transparency. I just feel like there should be no there should be no surprises, right? Like I shouldn't just find out that this is someone that you slept with at one point or you played with or whatever. I think the transparency is what is most important. It's the dishonesty and the shady stuff that's a turn off.
Okay, I'm gonna fly through these real quick. Let me shoot through these. So then Tammy was like, "It's funny how she's been in the LS and thinks back to the fact that her mom was a hoe,
Hmm.
but she was no, but a reasonable hoe, not a hoe like messy hoe. It's basically she was having threesomes with a guy and a girl, and clearly Tammy was privy to it. That's very interesting because a lot of times people don't realize your kids don't miss as much as you think they missed it. They catch a lot of the bullshit you doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now we got CJ here talking about how she was a total hoe until she accepted that she's more attracted to women than men. I
Hi,
got nothing. I'm gonna just
hi,
leave
CJ.
that alone. I mean, she really don't be caring for. She really don't be caring for a lot of dudes though. Like, and it's not a lot of y'all dudes think it's me. It's not me stopping it. She just don't like most of y'all motherfuckers. That's not my fault. A lot of y'all botch it yourselves. But anyway, and then Leah said that her pops was 6'6". So of course she only likes tall men in general.
See?
So you gotta be like over 6'1" just to chat to her. Keep in mind she's only about 5'6", 5'7" herself.
Like she's
She's
taller than
damn,
me. I'm 5'3".
but she's still short. You know what I'm saying?
What
Sit
did
up
Lynn
here
say?
talking about. I'm like, listen, man, 5'11" is tall to you. Go ahead. And then Lems was like, that's so true, Nova. My dad was a great dad, except for when he wasn't. But nonetheless, I was still a daddy's girl. Yet never wanted a man like my dad and turned around and got it anyway.
Oh
Not
yeah,
realizing until yeah.
yeah,
Because sometimes you unconsciously draw the thing that you're used to recognizing.
that's
Because
what it
familiarity is one of the number one ways that you get dragged into things that you ain't asked for. Because you recognize it, so you drop your guard for it, even when it's probably a bad idea.
because your body response to it. This is the DNA that created you, and it has those
And
similar
that's that word again. Say that word again. I forgot.
epigenetics. That's what it is.
Epigenetics?
Yes, EPI genetics. So the
Okay.
epigenetics part is like it draws you to what's familiar to you. And you can be a woman dating a man that is just like your mother, right? Like it just my niece, one of my nieces dates men who were just like her mother. And it's like, girl, and she plays her father's role, my brother's role, to a T, and she cannot even see it. And I'm like, girl, you are dating your mother and you're acting like your dad. Stop.
And listen, and sometimes, like, and I always keep this in mind. And I say, to be fair, even as bad as my pops was, because, not taking care of your kids is not taking care of your kids. That's never okay.
Never.
But I say to myself, I'm sure my moms did some shit that was super annoying or whatever. Just because as a man, I could see certain shit, like she's super OCD, you know what I'm saying? She could be a little extra stuff. And then she has this way to her where, and I do it too. This is how I know I get my ADD from her. It is like literally we'll be talking and all of a sudden she's just doing something else. Except she's not good at multitasking as much as me sometimes. Because literally she'll just get quiet. Like me, I'm doing like 5 different things while I'm talking on the show. But if my mom was doing this, she would be quiet when she was doing other stuff. And I could always tell. And that drives me crazy. I'm like, Ma, why are we on the phone and you sitting there quiet? Because you got distracted or whatever. Like, but like you said, people get drawn to certain things. You know what I'm saying?
You are.
And certain behaviors. I don't think I've dated anybody that's really like my mother, though. I can't say that I have. Well, I guess I kind of have, as far as the OCD part. Because, man, my house be looking clean when these girls come over here and clean this shit, boy. I tell you. But,
let me say what Lim said, because I can relate. This is why I love you so much, because I feel like we have the same history. My father, first of all, I told you guys I'm a daddy's girl. Love my dad. Now. My dad is the only parent, the only parent, not my mother, who knows I'm in the lifestyle. When I told him I was in the lifestyle, he was like, I'm really proud of you. I can tell. You look happier, right? Like he knew, but it was all his fault because it started with my dad's porn. He used to keep them in a little safe. And I used to like pick the safe lock and then like put him in the VCR. I'm with Limbs on that. And then he knew that I was, because I wouldn't be able to rewind it to the exact place where he stopped it. So, my dad knows I've always been a highly sexual appetite, but it's his fault for sure. For sure.
Facts. Listen, it was my uncle for me. I used to find them big booty hole tapes that he had stashed in the crib. Because at one point I was staying, when I was living in Newark, because before my mom's, because we went through it was rough when I was young. So we was like moving around, my mom trying to get our footing because times was hard after my grandmother passed away and all of that. So we had moved in with my uncle for a little minute. And I'll never forget how I creeped in. And he had there was like this little office area or whatever. But I guess that's where he watched his movies because he lived with his lady. So he was watching his movies and shit over there, I guess. And he had them stashed like between some other tapes. So those of y'all who don't know, who are too young, there was this thing called videotapes, which is basically a big ass tape. And you would see like big booty. You would see Booty Talk 1, Booty Talk 17, whatever the fuck. And I would get a hold of them shits, and I'd put that shit in. And I was like, and I think that kind of shaped my taste in women too.
For sure.
Because I tend to like women with certain dimensions. Now, you could be slim or you could be thick with it. It depends. But it's just certain dimensions, certain way that your body has to come together.
Yeah.
And I'm really a sucker for that shit. And I was like that from young. I remember my mom used to always tell me, it was like every single woman that you deal with, they always got some kind of booty cheeks. They either got booty cheeks or they built like a model, or they both. It just depends on, I guess, whatever you find yourself attracted to. My mom always told me about that. Your women are always shaped decent, either they slim or thick. They always got a nice shape to them. And I
Mhm.
just be like, mom, I try to make it do what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Like in your uncle. Listen, but my mom on the opposite is very vanilla. Very vanilla. This lady just discovered boy shorts like 5 years ago, and she thinks she is doing something now.
Oh
She
Lord.
has never masturbated, watched porn.
Wait, who?
My mother.
Wow. I'm just this is that evolved part of the conversation where the fact that you even know this is impressive.
Because
Go
I
ahead.
believe in transparency, right? And all of my relationships are transparent. So when I've talked to my mom, and my mom's like, I don't know where you get that from. It must be your father because, and it's like, yeah, it is, because my mom, like I said, my mom, and that's when she told me, I was like, why you never masturbated before? That's why you get so upset all the time. Like you gotta take care of yourself, right?
I actually know a girl who's never did that before to this day, and she like my age.
I can't function
And
with that.
and that's the way she was brought up, is like in their household, sexuality was shamed a lot. One of those Christian households, as I roll my eyes, um, where they just suppressed all that sexuality, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it, in some ways, it worked out okay, but in other ways, not so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes you feel
Because
guilty about your sexuality. It's horrible. I
you
struggled with that for a while.
you don't know the upper limits of your body, because nobody can do you how you can do you. And when you learn the way that you really, really like it, which you learn through engaging with yourself, that helps you to bring somebody that has the ability to get you there to an
Yeah.
even higher level with you, because you can share based on what you know you like 110%. But when you don't ever, explore those things, there you end up missing out a lot of stuff. And I'll say this, fellas, don't bring those girls into the lifestyle. Get them up to snuff before you bring them into the lifestyle. If you're not the type of no, I'm gonna say why in a minute. If you're the type of dude that likes to keep your sex techniques simple, don't bring them into the lifestyle for one simple reason: is somebody's gonna come that's gonna do the most, and they gonna turn them out in a way. It doesn't mean they're gonna leave you. No, it's not about them leaving or nothing like that. It's gonna turn them out in a way where the way that they used to like it is going to change, because they're gonna discover the other flavors in the rainbow and be like, "Holy shit, I really like this, and I didn't even know I liked that till this guy did it, such and such and such." And the thing is, me, I've like I said, I've forgotten more techniques than I ever could use. I don't really dig into most of my techniques most of the time.
Mm.
But my whole thing is that I'm not worried about that, because 99% chance nobody's going to do something that I didn't at least think about, or maybe I forgot about it because I've been there, done that. I've been doing this a long time. But some dudes are more simple. This isn't throwing shade or being whatever. It's just some dudes are more simple. They like their sex meat and potatoes, because everybody's not lifestyle. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? Everybody's not sexually adventurous. Some people, they just like their sex simple. Get a little head, do a little fucking straight between the legs, hit it from the back, maybe a little side action called the end. They're not doing all that extra shit. So my whole thing is, if that's your jam, don't bring over here, because we gonna turn upside down, inside out, and she gonna come out differently the way she walked. You know what I'm saying? Unless you don't mind that. If you don't mind that, then hey, it's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
think because of like the sexual freedom I had with like with my father. Weird, sounds weird.
Mm-hmm.
And also, my godmother was somebody who was like, "Girl," like when my mom was like, "Don't have sex," da, 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 my godmother would be like, "Oh, here's the condoms," right? And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so it's safe." I ended up being the person who like helped my friends get their first toys and buy their first porns and get stuff like that because
You was the influence?
oh yeah, they were like, and they would tell me in secret like, so
Well, you're still the influence.
that's true.
Yes.
I am still the influence.
Because your friends is a lot. Most of them are squares. You know what I'm
They are.
saying?
They are.
It's
And when I
okay though, but they squares.
yeah, they're loyal squares, and that's all
You
right.
bringing any of them to the takeover?
And I bring any other I don't know. I'm thinking about just
You
bringing
know,
my go-to date because I gotta feel safe. So I'm thinking about just bringing Mel with me.
what am I? Chop fucking liver?
No, you're never chopped liver. You are my personal. I feel like
You
I'm
don't
Jordan.
have to. You don't have to bring them just for security. Now, if you want to bring them because you want a +1, then do you. But don't bring them just for safety purposes because you're gonna get annoyed by them being in your face the whole weekend when you're trying to move around.
No, I brought Mel to the paintball event, and I felt good. He's good. He's cool people.
Okay,
Yeah.
if that's what you say, let's see if he's gonna stand around and be a part of the 10.
Oh,
the
yeah.
10 bangers.
The 10. You know what? I'm gonna ask him. Thank you, Tammy. That's right. Tammy did say that I could be with her too. Listen, my inbox is jumping with support. They're like,
you better be.
You can stay with me, guys.
Joy, I don't know where you're getting these 3 dates from. I have no idea what you're referring to, man. I have no idea what you're referring to.
God.
I can confirm. Well, I definitely can't deny that, but I'm not going to confirm it either.
That's right. All right. So, what's our summary for tonight? Because tonight was a really cool conversation. I feel like, like I said, I want healing to be part of the lifestyle, and so because I'm in the lifestyle, it's got to be. We're gonna have these healing conversations about family dynamics and how they influence us. So, at least monthly, we're gonna be digging a little deep, and then we can still talk our shit on the other days.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. I will say this. This is the biggest take I would get from this.
Yeah.
If I say this topic, a lot of y'all got to do more than just the whole facts if you want to take somebody seriously. Because you need to look at their upbringing. You need to look at, and even if you can't meet their parents might not be around anymore or whatever. So you might not be able to, but you got to at least do your research, have those conversations where you could learn how they were raised, what they've been through, if they had a lot of trauma. And that's not to say we don't want to victim blame or we treat people like pariahs because they've been through shit. But we still have to pay attention because if they aren't at least doing the work to heal those things that are broken, if they're just letting it sit there and they're just saying, this is who I am and you got to like it or lump it. Okay.
I'm a lump it.
I'm a lump it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the key thing is that you got to be willing to do the work. And sometimes it takes big things to happen in order to make you realize that you got to do the work. But my thing is this, I always prefer to learn, and this is something I advise to every client. I said, learn from other people's examples so you don't have to go through it yourself. If you've already seen what this looks like, don't wait till you go through it. Don't end up taking a loss that you could never recoup or lose a friend that you never wanted to lose or end up losing a family member that never wants to speak to you again or whatever. Don't wait for the trauma to get so bad that the door closes in your face before you make the moves that you need to make.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to learn that way. And granted, it happens sometimes. And it's not anybody's fault. Like it is, and we want you to be clear, it is not your fault if you have trauma that was inflicted on you, because a lot of us have been through shit. I've shared my, I guess you call it trauma. I didn't feel traumatized, but anyway,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But my whole thing is that I've dealt with things like there was a time where I really didn't trust women much at all or have much faith in women because I was always one of those guys that tried to operate with consistency, operating in an age at that time I was younger, and the women of my age group were not showing that.
Yeah.
So it came to a point where if I even found, I think this was when I was in like my early 20s. And what I would do is if a girl told me she was like, oh, I'm 20, whatever, I would automatically get turned off and not even bother. I used to only fuck with older females, 30 and up, whatever. If you was a young thing, I wasn't going for you. I was never one of those guys running behind the PYT because I feel like a lot of time their life is a mess. They don't know how to they haven't learned how to deal with a man that pays attention. So I had to jump the thing a little bit. And I used to be a little, a little fucked up for that though. Cause I mean, I probably did some girls that was some decent things, but when you got that trauma, that shit fucks with you. Like, even to this day, it's rare that I would entertain somebody that's under 30. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's something that I would typically stick to. Because, for me, I like the maturity. I like somebody to understand what time it is. I like to be able to make certain references and they can actually get it.
Like people.
You know what I'm saying? Or like talking about a videotape. You say that to some 20-something, they looking at you with their eyes crossed and like, what the fuck is that? Sorry. They barely recognize CDs. You know what I'm saying?
Don't get me started.
But yeah, we don't want to ramble on now.
So I think my takeaway would be that you said, and don't just do a whole facts, but I would say do a genogram. And a genogram is a detailed family tree that explores family dynamics, family patterns, history, all that stuff. And you don't have to do a formal genogram.
Why do I feel like you said this in one of your sessions before?
I always have my people do genograms because you can't understand a person as a therapist. I can't understand a client without understanding them and their family system. And so absolutely, positively. And so I would say, get a family history, watch how people talk about other people, how their relationships are. If they say, like somebody said, we were talking about having all male friends or mostly male friends and stuff like that, find out the reason why and hear how they talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, as long as if you hear how people talk, they will tell you the truth. Take your time and heal yourself. The trauma is not your responsibility or your fault, but the healing is your responsibility.
Yes.
That's what.
And that's the real deal Holyfield. Now, speaking of real, let's keep it motherfucking real because we got things coming up. Yes. I wanna put these things out there and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I likes to do that. I'm gonna start with this one because there's some titties in it. So Angie Santos is having an event this weekend, actually. It's a floor crawl situation. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a good time. I say if you are interested in doing this, there's going to be a really nice crowd there. Get at Angie Santos and she'll get you straight. If you want a room or if you just want to show up for the event and then dip off, you could do that too. Just get a ticket. You know what I'm saying? But get at her and she'll get you right. It's a cosplay event, so there is a prize for the best costume. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Single males are $85, couples are $65, and ladies are $25.
Okay.
So she's doing some good prices. And thank you, because, the single males and the couples being the same price be kind of frustrating. So I was like, damn, I might as well came on my damn self. It's a good thing I like coming with who I come with. You know what I'm saying? But
Ooh,
I'm just
literally.
saying, no, I'm just saying, like back when I was like single and I would go to an event and I would bring somebody with me and be like, yeah, it's the same price for single male and couples. I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? It should be a different price because the couple's bringing a different energy, a different situation. But anyway, also, well, shit, I guess whatever with this. But shout out the Speak Friends podcast comes on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can check that out with them over there, Nova.
Yes.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh,
Uh,
about to fall asleep.
so you can check that out then. That comes on 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Um, of course, you got the BLX podcast. Now, I got their old flyer because KD didn't send me a new one.
Next, what?
No, listen. The main point is all you got to do is type in BLX in Facebook
Okay.
on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and you will find their show very easily. It's very easy to find.
Yes.
So all you got to do is type in that BLX 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you're gonna see some beautiful racks. I mean, Katie's there too, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Ain't not wrong. Ain't not
a
wrong with the
handsome, dark,
brother.
beautiful man.
Nah,
Yeah.
KD's cool. I ain't got no issue with KD, but I'm not necessarily looking at him when I'm watching the show. So so you got the lovely ladies up on there. They come with their own opinions. These what's up? You know what I'm saying? So that's always a good time.
Yes.
So I say, check it out. I'm sure they're gonna have a really amazing conversation. This title right here cracked me up though. This is one of my favorite titles that they've had, Coochie and Trailman. Until there, you need to go watch the replay on that to see what that means. I'm not even gonna explain it. Y'all gotta watch the show to find out what that means. So if y'all missed it last week, it's still up there. Whatever lives go on Facebook, you have to watch it within 30 days. Or you could go to BLX's, I think, if they simul stream on Twitter still.
Okay.
I'm not sure. KD will confirm that, but you could probably find it there too. Follow them on Twitter, all that good shit, and we're gonna keep it rolling. All right. This is a trip that's near and dear to my heart, so I'm putting this up next. This Grand Lido trip. You could get at me. I'll put you in contact with Queen Amethyst, and there's some information there. I'll take the banner down so you can actually see the whole thing. But that is the whole thing actually. Oh, putting it back up. Like, share, and subscribe. God damn it. Screenshot that. The info is there. I will tell you that the people organizing this, along with Queen, throw some really nice trips. So and they have payment plans and all that stuff. So it's affordable. You can put your trip on layaway. It's all good. Ain't no shame in that. You know what I'm saying? You get it how you can. That's all you do. We ain't shaming nobody's pockets here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all can follow that link that KD put up on Facebook too. That's actually the last show that was up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna copy it so I can share it on YouTube so the YouTube people can see it too. I think that's the shit. I can't share it on YouTube because YouTube doesn't allow you to share links. Never mind. Check my page, get the link from there. But like I said, y'all can type in BLX and it's all good. Leah, what are you talking about eroticon? I'm confused.
What?
Well, she'll explain that in a second.
Okay.
Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a hotel takeover. Look at that. This hotel takeover is going on from August 22nd. You know what that is? That is, for those of you who do not know, who may not be aware, that is a day after my birthday. So I will be celebrating my birthday there. I was told there's going to be some birthday cake in attendance.
Ooh.
In more than one way, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If somebody could blow on my candle and make a wish, I'll be very happy. Actually, I want more than one somebody, God damn it. Listen, I'm turning 45 this year. 45 is a big birthday. You know what I'm saying? Now, 50, of course, is the milestone, but 45 is a big one too.
Well,
45 is
you should
actually
be
my
there.
it's one of my favorite numbers. Actually, it's one of the numbers I've played with in football and basketball. Huh?
You should be on the flyer. That's what CJ said. I agree.
I'll work on that, I guess. But for now, this is what's up, and
Yep.
that's what it is. If you want to buy a ticket, make sure that you use the code MAX to buy your ticket. You'll get a discount and you'll be helping me out at the same damn time. You could consider it a birthday gift to make sure that you remember to use the code MAX when you buy your motherfucking ticket. So I hope we understand ourselves loud and clear over here because I don't want to hear no excuses. And I'm going to actually put the link because I have the link right here. Boop, 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 boop. Wow. And that's gonna go up. And there's the link. Now see, I can get the link through that way. Okay, so that's the link to get the tickets. That's the link to get you right. That is the link so that you can come to this takeover and celebrate with your man here. I ain't calling myself your boy. I'm a whole grown ass nigga.
Hey.
So, you know what I'm saying? You can come celebrate with me. We gonna turn up. We gonna party like rock stars. And that's what time it is. Oh, the link didn't share to Facebook. See, Facebook is doing some janky ass shit. Oh, thank you, Joy. See, Joy always
Joy is a good
my lovely assistant, Joy, with the pretty chocolate boobies. Anyway,
she is just
listen, them things is nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so that's what it is for that. But
I have another announcement.
Go ahead. I gotta look and see what Leah was talking about anyway. So let me go ahead.
30th is my 1-year celebration in the lifestyle. I'm not really having a celebration yet.
The 30th of what?
June.
Oh shit.
Is my anniversary. I'm gonna go back and check that date. I said that I entered the lifestyle.
So basically, I need the girl powers that be to get the guys in recruitment so she could celebrate her annual, what is it? Her annual indoctrination into the lifestyle.
Ooh.
With a gangbang. Gang gang.
Gang gang.
Gang bang.
You know, we'll talk about it more. I got to get my thoughts together. But yes, we got to celebrate.
I mean, if you feel up to it, I should say. Look at me. I'm offering up your hole. So I'm trying to make the magic happen. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you guys know I punked out on my birthday. So.
Huh?
I said, I punked out on my birthday. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you might punk out again. Because when you see 10 guys sitting up here boing boinging in front of you, I just don't feel like that's gonna play out the way you think.
I've been watching a lot of gangbang porn trying to get my life together. Oh, it's June 29th. June 29th is my anniversary. I want to say that my anniversary is compliments of Sir Leezus and Eliza's Experiment in Philly. He did not ask me to shout him out, but I am, because he's super, super dope. And that was my first event, like introducing me to the lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a good brother.
He's a good man. And so I appreciate that. And I was like, once I went to that event, I was like, this is home. So that's
and then he used the wizardry on you.
No, so he used it on my friend who came with me, and I was like,
oh, which friend is that? That's the friend that I know?
No.
Oh.
And so, but then I got wizardried in July of last year. So
you got wizardry. I'm telling you, that shit.
Jesus for being such an amazing example of the lifestyle. I appreciate him. And so June 29th is
that man works hard. Honestly, I think he need a vacation, but
Facts.
That man worked hard. Y'all don't understand how hard that man worked. That man be working hard. Like y'all think he's having fun. He's doing what he loves, but I'm just letting you know, support the brother.
Yes.
He works hard.
Yes.
The internet trying to hate on him a little bit. So we got to keep our brother in arms lifted up. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll have his shit like out there, and then IG or Facebook want to do some goofy shit. So, you know, we got to keep that shit moving, even though he's doing his damn thizzle anyway. I'm just saying, because I can't help it. I like to support people I fuck with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is that, you know, I really want y'all to understand he really does a great job at what he's doing. I've personally sat and watched this for myself, and I was basically what you call taking class. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sitting there and I have a front row seat. I'm sitting there and I'm watching everything that's happening. I'm seeing the very specifics. I'm not going to go into all that. That's a whole other show. But I just want to say, you know, that he's really make sure that you're taken care of and that you're safe and that you only end up with the bruises that you asked for. So, you know, I just wanted to put that out there. A little shameless plug. You know, he ain't asked for it, but you know, we did it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, like I said, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all being on here. And there's so much more to unpack on this. There is, like she said, epigenetics, very important. Doing your, what did you say, genogram? Also genogram, excuse me. Doing your genogram, also very important. Basically, in layman's terms, do your motherfucking research before you decide to make somebody get into your world. If you want to fuck, that's fine. Just fuck them. You know, wear a condom, keep it safe, birth control, whatever it is. Fuck them. But if you want something serious, you really wait. They got a couple of things going on here. Hold on. Is that what y'all talking about? Is that Eroticon thing? Is that Zuri's event? Somebody tell me if that's Zuri's event.
Zuri's doing a Juneteenth event. I don't think I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be out the country.
Is that Zuri's event? Eroticon?
I don't know.
Please, somebody answer me. Tell me yes. Or no. No, the reason why is because I need that flyer. I will definitely put that up here. I think Leah said she sent me some. She probably did, but I'm going to need that again because I have a million things I've been doing and I don't even know where it is.
And isn't there also another study summer party happening?
Oh, yes, there is.
So we need these flyers. We're going to be promoting this next week. So guys.
Oh, no. Oh, yes. I do want to shout out Erotica NYC because that's another crew of people that I fucks with and I like them. And they have a nice, sexy crowd. You know, they do some interesting events and stuff like that too. They actually activate my nerd side because they do a lot of nerdy shit. Like they dress up in the cosplay and all that other stuff. Kind of similar to what Angie's doing, but I mean, they bout that life on a pretty consistent basis. Like they really mix the nerd life with the swing life and make it all kind of fit. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, somebody just wrote a whole lot of... Oh, that's KD putting this thing up. All right, no problem. All right, and yeah, so I'm not sure what Zuri's event is. I'll definitely shout that next week. The Eroticon for Erotica NYC is coming up. Hopefully that's not next week because I don't have the flyer in front of me right now. But I'll definitely have that together. Hopefully my lovely assistant will help me make sure I have it together. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
and we'll get the flyer.
Okay, it's in August or September. Got you. Okay, thank you. Okay, Mistress Nita. Ooh, yeah, I remember her. Anyway, we gonna get distracted and be rambling on here all night.
See y'all next week.
we listen, same bat time, same bat station. what do you hold up before we go? What you want to talk about next week? Let's give them a little hint.
Ooh.
Because I was thinking about talking about um, sexual preferences,
Ooh.
something to that degree.
I think that's a good idea. You know why? Because I'm exploring my sexuality more and more these days. My Pornhub search is expanding.
Yes. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the title's going to be different. It's not going to be sexual preferences.
Right.
But basically, next week, we going to hit y'all with, um, we going to talk about sexual preferences, kinks, all of that stuff, gay, straight, bi, otherwise, pan. We're going to get into the definition so everybody understands what time it is. And we're going to talk about our experiences with all that. So, y'all have a good night and stay safe.
Good
Peace
night.
out. Bye. Awkward pause.